This will be by far and away the most difficult week to submit starting lineups of the wide receiver position. Not only do we have major injuries, guys like Cooper Kupp going down, but on top of this, Christian Kirk on bye, Jalen Waddle on bye, Tyreek Hill on bye, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These rankings were very hard to make, so please feel free to go down there and tell me what I need to fix in the comment section. Of course, you can tell me I'm an idiot, but I would try to be a little nicer to me. Come on, guys. I got feelings as well. And down there in the comment section, also feel free to ask any questions you may have. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these player props, if you want to get into a draft with us, I mean, we draft every single week on the live stream. If you want to go and have some fun, make sure you go to the link in the description, the link in the comment section. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. When you use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100, and it's available in damn near every state. But I think that should be it. Let's dive into these rankings. Numero uno, Justin Jefferson. I know it's a tough matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, or at least on paper. Christian Watson, someone we'll talk about later on, literally just had 3 touchdowns against this Dallas Cowboys defense. I think that it would be the most disrespectful thing in the world to go through and rank Justin Jefferson anywhere but 1 after the game he just had against the Buffalo Bills, after having the catch of the year. Like, if you have Justin Jefferson, you should be so excited. I mean, that was just a phenomenal catch. At 2, same tier, we are going to have Stephon Diggs. From a points per game perspective, I actually think Diggs has outproduced Jefferson so far this season. Don't hate the matchup going up against the Cleveland Browns. I mean, against Cleveland here should be a fine spot, where the Buffalo Bills are massive favorites. I believe they are about 9-point favorites in this contest. They're playing in Buffalo, so maybe not going to be great for someone that we'll talk about a little later on with Amari, but Diggs, you're playing regardless. But now dropping down to our next tier, we're going to go DeAndre Hopkins at 3. Hopkins, you really don't like the matchup against the 49ers. They're playing in Arizona on Monday night, but they're still 7.5, 8-point dogs. But what you do really like for DeAndre Hopkins is the fact that you have no Hollywood Brown, which we already know of, but also Zach Ertz leaving this offense, in my opinion, is going to be a pretty big deal. And that I don't think Zach Ertz playing or not makes a massive difference for how the defensive coordinator goes through and attacks the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, for how many points the Cardinals can put up. But from a target share perspective, Hopkins is a lock. He is a guaranteed player to get 10, 11, 12 targets in this contest. He's been phenomenal. I think you do hope you get Kyler Murray back. And now in this same tier, we're going to go Devontae Adams. Similar situation. No Darren Waller, no Hunter Renfrow. Now, it's a much worse team. They're actually supposed to lose to the Denver Broncos this week, believe it or not. I mean, with Adams, the consistent target share, elite level wide receiver, jam him in. But in this same tier, I know it's going to be aggressive to have these guys in the same tier, but we're going to go CeeDee Lamb coming off a monstrous performance against Green Bay. I don't necessarily think that we're overreacting with the Lamb performance here, because what has been the issue with CeeDee Lamb so far this season? The issue with Lamb is not his play. It's not Dak Prescott's play. The issue with CeeDee Lamb is the fact that this Dallas Cowboys team is so good, at least on the defensive side of the ball, that they just run the ball in the second half. They don't have to go out there and throw it. However, going up against the Minnesota Vikings this week, even if it's a tough matchup, I kind of like it for Lamb, where the Dallas Cowboys are 1-point favorites here, depending on the sports book that you're looking at. And that means they will have to throw the ball in the second half. That means it's most likely going to be a very close game. Now, our last guy in this tier, yes, we are going to sneak Amon-Ra St. Brown in here. Now, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I know maybe this is a little aggressive. I want to be aggressive with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think if you're looking at the volume you've had as of late, if you look at the fact that the man just dropped 20 fantasy points without even scoring a touchdown, he is a truly elite level option. You have no Hawkinson. You have no DJ Shark. You possibly have no Josh Reynolds. I pretty much guarantee we have no Jameson Williams either. So, I mean, you're in a very, very good spot for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, the matchup against the Giants is kind of whatever. Right now, the Giants are only 3-point favorites. But now going down to our next tier, we'll go A.J. Brown at 7. With A.J. Brown going up against the Indianapolis Colts, I think the Philadelphia Eagles have a massive bounce back. Now, I understand, yes, they didn't look great against Washington. Washington went through and played keep away here with the Philadelphia Eagles. They ran the ball over 40 times, really limited Philadelphia in general. I'm sorry if you started A.J. Brown last week, though, and maybe only needed like 2 points to get the win on Monday night, and then he goes through and gets you a total of 1.7. But now our next guy is going to be T. Higgins. With Higgins, I actually think we'd move him ahead of A.J. Brown if we were just guaranteed to not have Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase most likely going to miss this week. I think there's a chance, just the tiniest chance ever, that Chase actually sneaks in and plays. Maybe Cincinnati's been a little secretive here when it comes to Jamar Chase. Because keep in mind, I mean, hell, they decided not to put him on the IR. Who the hell knows? Reality, you're probably not getting Chase back till next week or the week after. But now dropping down to our next tier, we're going to go Chris Olave in his own tier at 9. With Olave, not great this past week. I mean, you only had, I believe, 5-6 targets. But going forward, I still think that he's in a phenomenal spot where, hell, I mean, you have no Michael Thomas. If Michael Thomas is going to be out here, I think that you can just go through and assume that we get a ton of passing volume in the direction of Chris Olave each and every week. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I mean, especially if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, is there any chance we see Jameis Winston back this year? Now, full transparency, I have some best ball teams that could use Jameis Winston back, so I kind of hope that he does make it back in here. Obviously, it would be better for Olave if Jameis Winston was the guy. I don't know if it would be better for the Saints, though. But now, dropping down to our next tier, we are going to go ahead with Amari Cooper at 10. With Amari, I would actually probably have him a little bit higher than this if we had Deshaun Watson in or if this game was being played at home. If we look at the home away splits for Amari Cooper, they have been disgusting. Like, it's a night and day difference. And honestly, for that reason, we're not going to go Amari Cooper at 10 because he's playing on the road against Buffalo. We'll move Terry McLaurin ahead of him. Now, it is a little painful for me to rank Terry McLaurin as a top 10 wide receiver this week. Of course, we have everybody on bye, so that plays into it a bit. And with Terry McLaurin, if you are a new member of the flock, I just have to fill you in. I'm an idiot. I've been saying to sell Terry McLaurin for the past few months, thinking, okay, well, when we get Jahan Dotson in, when we get, Diami Brown back in, when we get Logan Thomas back in, when we have all these players back in Washington, it's going to be more difficult for Terry McLaurin to see the consistent 10-plus targets in a very bad offense where I'm not that excited about it, but hell, he comes out and dominates the Philadelphia Eagles this past week on primetime. And then at the same time, this week, going up against the Houston Texans in a very good matchup. But now going over to 12, someone that I did not like coming into the season, but I think people have maybe gone a little bit too far with the hate. Michael Pittman. I was calling Michael Pittman one of the most overdrafted players in fantasy when people were calling him a top 10 wide receiver. I thought he was the second most overdrafted player. We'll get to the most overdrafted in just 1 second. Tough matchup on paper against the Philadelphia Eagles, but Terry McLaurin did just fine here. And if we are going to be looking at Michael Pittman Jr., I understand. Hell, he only has 1 touchdown. The points really haven't been there, but the targets have. He's averaging 9.5 targets so far this season. I think you like Matt Ryan coming back into this offense based on the play that we had from Sam Ehlinger. Let me know what you think. It's just so difficult with all these players being out this week to come up with these rankings. And then at 13, we are going to go with, in my opinion, the player that was the most overrated player in fantasy football. We built an entire brand saying, Courtland Sutton's bad. Don't draft Courtland Sutton. Sell Courtland Sutton. He's overrated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Jeudy's injured. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Patrick went down for the year. Ladies and gentlemen, KJ Hamler's injured. So, yes, I want to say we were right. I want to say that we had it correct when it comes to how we should have been valuing Courtland Sutton coming into the season. But at this point, if we were to go through and continue to act like he's some massively overvalued player when everything has changed, I think we would just be extremely biased. I think I would not be helping anybody at all. Because to be honest, with everybody out in Denver, Courtland Sutton looks like a pretty damn good option. Now, our last guy in this tier will be Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, I am just still very worried about. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Hell, when you have Ayuk, Kittle, CMC, there are a lot of players here in San Francisco. I think it's hard to imagine that we just get this continued passing volume. Going in the direction of Deebo Samuel. This is actually higher than where Deebo Samuel's been on a fantasy points per game basis this season. So we're giving Deebo a little bit of credit just for the talent he is, just for the name appeal, just so you don't yell at me in the comment section, because honestly, Deebo Samuel may need to be a little bit lower, but these next options are pretty gross. Now, going over to wide receiver 15, we're going to go with Jacoby Myers. Myers, you've had some massive performances with double-digit targets. You've had some games where he's only drawing 4 or 5 targets in a contest. Going up against the Jets, there are a few things that I know in life. First thing is taxes. You got to pay them. Second thing is death. Everybody's going to eventually die. The third thing is Bill Belichick puts a butt whooping on the New York Jets every time they meet. Like, I think that betting on the New England Patriots when they are going up against the New York Jets is probably a pretty decent idea, including going with Jacoby Myers when he's had target volume. But now going over with our next guy, we're going to go with Gabe Davis against Cleveland, and we'll go Devonta Smith right after. I mean, you all know we had these players as buy low guys this past week, and the reason's very simple. These are 2 players that are number 2 in their offenses that are elite offenses, so they're not going to get the consistent target volume to give you the relatively high floor you're looking for. However, because their offenses are great, because they're good players, they are going to have very high ceilings. They're going to be extremely volatile options on a week-to-week basis. Like, we had them as buy low guys last week. We've had them as sell high guys earlier in the season. It's just very easy to know that these are the same players that they always are. You're just eventually going to get one player to pop off. You're not going to get the other. Just know nothing's really changed from the past week with these 2 names. Now, going over to our next guy, we got Tyler Boyd at 18. Tyler Boyd, obviously, you would drop him down tremendously if Jamar Chase were to play, but I'm assuming Jamar Chase is going to miss. We'll go Rondale Moore at 19. By far and away the highest we've ranked Rondale Moore so far this season. But at the same time, I'd say by far and away the best situation he's been in. Not only do we have no Hollywood Brown, but at the same time, we're in a situation where we have no Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz operates close to the line of scrimmage. I would say exactly where you're wanting Rondale Moore to get targeted, right over the middle of the field at the line of scrimmage. So I think it does help him out a decent amount. But dropping down to our next tier, I'm going to go with 3 players, and we're going to call this the who the hell knows tier. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, trust me, I'm out there doing everything I can. I'm out there reading Los Angeles Chargers fan pages, Kansas City Chiefs fan pages, trying to figure out if these guys are going to play. In reality, I have no idea. I'll rank them here for now. I will continue to monitor their progress as we go through the week. What is extremely difficult, though, and I already know this is going to happen, we are going to have one of these guys, whether it's Mike Williams or Keenan Allen or Juju Smith-Schuster, as a game time decision where Sunday morning, I'm going to be sitting there pulling my hair out because they play Sunday night. I will keep y'all updated with these players as we get closer to Sunday, though. I just don't know. Now, going 23, we will have DJ Moore. With DJ Moore going up against the Baltimore Ravens, just going to have my same stance we've had for a couple months now. I like DJ Moore coming into the season. I was laughably wrong because this is one of, if not the worst offenses in the entire NFL. The Carolina Panthers are horrendous. The Carolina Panthers are a train wreck. If you get a spike week from Deontay Foreman, who I love, hook 'em horns, or DJ Moore, they're probably clear sell high players the following. I mean, if we're looking at the spread on this game right now, Baltimore's 12.5 point favorites. Like, DJ Moore's going to get every target. DJ Moore's a phenomenal talent, but this is just a horrendous offense. But now going over to our next tier, we're going to go Christian Watson, 24, Allen Lazard, 25. Now, full transparency, I asked a lot of people in the live chat last night. We had like 1,000 people in the live stream. I asked who they would rather have between Christian Watson and Allen Lazard, and overwhelmingly the chat told me to go ahead and take Allen Lazard. But you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm going Christian Watson. We had the bold call earlier this offseason, back when Christian Watson was going in like the 14th round of basketball drafts, that you shouldn't draft Lazard in the 6th, draft Watson in the 14th. He could be the wide receiver 1. Yep, then he hurt his hamstring twice. Then he had a concussion. Then he got ruled out of a different game with a concussion. It doesn't really matter. With Christian Watson, when he gets a shot, he comes through and he dominates. 45% of the targets in Green Bay. I know the 3 touchdowns, not sustainable. I know they're big plays, only 4 receptions. That's not what I want to get too excited about, because I'll admit that's not really sustainable. But what is sustainable? The 45% target share, even if that comes down to 25%. Oh, dear God, I'm excited about Watson. Now, going over to our next guy, 26, we have Brandon Ayuk going up against Arizona. Love the matchup, but going back to what we were talking about with Deebo Samuel, when we have Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC, all in the same offense where we don't expect there to be a lot of passing volume. Very hard to get excited about an individual name here. And then at 27, we are going to be going with Garrett Wilson playing the New England Patriots. Rest of season, I actually would rather have Garrett Wilson over a decent amount of these names ahead of him. But the issue is going up against the New England Patriots, going back to what we were previously saying. I mean, I think it's a safe bet to always be betting on New England over the Jets. I mean, right now the Pats are about 3-point favorites. I don't know. I would just be so worried about Zach Wilson going up against Bill Belichick. Now, dropping down to our next tier, we're going to go Pickens and Deontay Johnson, 28 and 29. I mean, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, I really don't like this matchup too much. I would have honestly thought that the Bengals may have been like 6-7 point favorites here against Pittsburgh. But I guess because they are playing at Pittsburgh, because they have TJ Watt back, the spread on this game is 4.5 to 5 points, depending on the sportsbook that you're looking at. Still not a massive believer in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I think Pickens and Deontay are very talented players. It was nice that Pickens got you the rushing touchdown this past week, because without the rushing touchdown, I don't know if you would have had anything at all. Now, the last guy I'll throw on this list is Kadarius Toney with a massive asterisk. With Kadarius Toney, if Juju Smith-Schuster as well as McCole Hardman are both out this week, he flies up these rankings. If both of those guys are out and you're looking at the wide receiver room only with Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Kadarius Toney, you would move up Toney dramatically. However, at the time of this recording, we don't have the clarity when it comes to Juju or McCole Hardman. I've been doing my research. I've been trying to figure this out. I think we're just going to have to let time play it out. I think we're going to have to see these practice reports. I will be giving updates throughout the week. I will be live streaming every single day as I've done over the past 150 days. Just make sure you're subscribed and I'll be trying to give you these updates, because Toney could be a much better option than this if we had those injuries. Now, I think that's all I got for you. Of course, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you have not done so already, go down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you want to be able to come out to those live streams with us. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. And also in that comment section, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog Fantasy, you can check out all these cool player props, get into weekly best ball drafts with us, available in damn near every state. And when you use promo code FLOCK, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200. But thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day and hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight.